Hey guys, welcome back. In this lesson, we will see how to handle to find a resource by name and also how to handle if multiple resources are written back which are holding the same name. I will be creating separate class for each lesson so that it will be easy for you to refer it back when you pull the code from Bitbucket. Let us start with creating a new class by name element by name.java. Similar to what we did element by id, I will create a new class element by name. Under the Selenium package, new, other. Since we want testng, filter for testng, and actually it's right there. Double click on it, and I would like to name it like element by name. I will select add before method and add after method and click finish. By default it created add before, add after and add test methods. So I will copy the code whichever is relevant like add before and add after into this from our element by id class. So in here I copied the code. Basically it handles the part where instantiating the WebDriver and closing the WebDriver. We comment it out because we want to see the last action that was performed on the web page, right? Otherwise the Selenium will close the browser. We will not be able to see what kind of activity happening on the browser. So for now we will keep it as commented. And let us add our new code, which is driver.findElement by name. Instead of two-line code, this time I will use the send keys on the same statement itself. So I can do dot send keys. Let us pass the value for the name as Mike. A simple line of code. All it does is find by name, whatever the name of that element is, and enter value as Mike. Let us quickly run this and see how it goes on the browser. So the browser, Chrome browser opened and the WebDriver entered the value Mike for this line of code right here. Driver.findElement by name dot send keys Mike is what it produced this output. Now let us take it to the next level. So this time what we will do is we will find elements that is sharing the same name. So this particular text box and this particular text box share the same name, which is your name. And how to handle that kind of situation when you have two elements returning from the same name. If I want to enter value into nickname, if I do it by find element by name, your name, it will always enter into the first one only. That is how the Selenium works. Whenever it encounters the first element matching, then it interacts with that one. But what if I want to enter the value into the second one, which is sharing the same name, which is your name? Then we have to do by using find elements. Instead of element, we have to use find elements that will return multiple elements. Then we have to iterate, that means parse through the elements and find the second one and enter into it. Let us do that. So I will go ahead and do driver.findElements by name. That part remains the same, except we will be using the method find elements. So again, my recommendation, mouse over to find elements and find out what it is returning. So if you look at here, when I mouse over to find elements, it is returning a list of web elements. So it is returning a list. When it is find element, it's only one web element, right? When we are using find elements, then it is returning a list of web elements. Since it's a list of elements, obviously you cannot use send keys, right? It's a list. So a typical list methods will appear when you use your dot operator. So for a list, there will be size, iterator, get, add. All of these methods are from the return type list. Instead of doing anything here, let us capture the list into a variable, and then we can use that variable to interact with the web elements. So on the left hand side, I will capture the list basically, and it's a list of web elements, right? So a list of web element, and you can give a name whatever you want to. So I will give a plural name like names. Control S, and you can import java.util.list. So our interest is to enter value into the second one. If it is the first one, we would have simply used find element. So for the second one, the way we can reach out to it is using the list and accessing the second element in that list. So list index starts at 0, right? So this would be at the position of 1. How we can do this is simply use this list name dot get the index for the second one, which is nickname, would be 1, and you can use simple dot operator and do send keys to send a value for the nickname. Here I will give the name as Mikey as the nickname for Mike. Now let us run this code and see how the value is populated. So we can see here the first one, find element, is entering the value Mike, and the second one where we are using list to access the list of elements sharing the same name and entering the nickname as Mikey. If you go back to the code, we have used the list and used the send keys on the second element. Indexes start at 0. 0 position is the name, and the second position, which is at index value of 1, is nickname. So on the nickname, I have used send keys and assign the value. So this is a list of web elements, remember? So if we are doing get 1, means it is returning one single web element, which is the second one from the list, and we are doing send keys on that one, and we are sending keys basically on this one. So the index 0 holds reference to this web element, and index 1 is holding value to this web element. You can simply use dot get 0 send keys for the first one. Instead of using this find elements, you can do that too. But the whole point is how to handle elements with the same name and use a list to access whichever element you want to access. With that, I will conclude this lesson. I will check in this code into Bitbucket, and you should be able to access it whenever you want to. Thank you.